Have you ever stood at the end of a long week, my friend, with a paycheck in your hand and a void in your soul, and asked yourself a question of profound and terrifying significance? Is this all there is? Have you felt the silent, creeping truth that the very security you have worked so tirelessly to build is, in fact, the most elegant and comfortable prison ever devised? You believe you are working to earn a living, but I am here to tell you a truth that may shake the very foundations of your world. In a job that is rigid, a role that demands compliance over creativity, a position that rewards the mere passage of time over the rendering of magnificent service, you are not truly earning. You are being spent. You are not building wealth. You are being consumed, ounce by precious ounce, day by day, by a system that was designed not for your enrichment, but for its own perpetuation. The steady wage, the predictable hours, the comfortable routine, these are not the pillars of security they appear to be. They are the opiates of ambition. They are the velvet-lined shackles that lull the great sleeping giant of your potential into a deep and, for many, a terminal slumber. The greatest tragedy in this world is not the man who aims for the stars and misses, but the man who aims for the curb and hits it every single day with perfect, soul-crushing precision. This rigid job, this seemingly safe harbor, is a place where dreams go to die, a quiet, respectable death. And it does so not through overt malice, but through a slow, methodical conditioning of your most powerful asset, your own mind. You must understand a fundamental law of the universe. You are, at this very moment, becoming the product of your most dominant thoughts. Now, consider the dominant thoughts cultivated in an environment of rigid, uninspired work. What are they? The dominant thought is, what must I do to keep this job? Not, what magnificent service can I render to become indispensable and grow beyond this role? The dominant thought is, how can I avoid making a mistake? Not, how can I innovate and take a calculated risk to create a greater result? The dominant thought is, thank goodness it is Friday. Not, thank goodness it is Monday, for I have a new week to build my empire. A mind that is fed a daily diet of fear, obedience, and limitation will inevitably produce a life of fear, obedience, and limitation. You cannot possibly expect to harvest a magnificent crop of achievement from a field where you have been diligently sowing the seeds of mediocrity. The paycheck you receive is not just a payment for your time. It is a hypnotic suggestion, a weekly whisper that says, this is your value. This is what you are worth. Do not dare to dream beyond this sum. And over time, a soul subjected to this constant, subtle hypnosis begins to believe it. It begins to defend its own cage, to find comfort in the familiarity of its own limitations. The imagination, that marvelous divine workshop of the mind, begins to atrophy from lack of use. Why imagine new worlds when your current one is so predictable? Why dream of building your own ship when you are so comfortable rowing another's galley? The job that demands no imagination will eventually take your imagination from you, and with it, your power to create a new reality. The great danger of a rigid occupation lies in the illusion of security it provides. You trade the glorious, terrifying uncertainty of your own potential for the predictable, sterile certainty of a wage. But let me ask you this, what is truly secure? I lived through the Great Depression. I saw with my own two eyes men who believed their positions in great corporations were as solid as the bedrock of this nation. They followed every rule, they did their work diligently, and they placed their faith entirely in the system. And then, overnight, the system broke. The secure jobs vanished like mist in the morning sun, and these men were left stranded, not just financially, but mentally. They had forgotten how to think for themselves. They had forgotten how to take initiative. Their minds, conditioned for years to simply follow orders, were paralyzed in the face of chaos. Their tragedy was not merely the loss of a job. It was the realization that they had surrendered their own self-reliance, their own mental fortitude, in exchange for a promise of security that was never truly real. The only true security a man or woman can ever have in this world, my friend, is not found in a contract or a title or a pension plan. It is found in a mind that can think, a will that can act, a purpose that can drive, and a faith that can withstand any storm. Your greatest asset is not your job. It is the mind that got you that job, and it is the same mind that can create something 1,000 times greater if you would only dare to unshackle it. If you build your entire life upon the foundation of a single employer, you have not built a fortress. You have built a house of cards on another man's table, and you are praying the wind never blows. Now, if you are in such a position, do not despair, for I am not here to tell you to cast aside your livelihood in a fit of reckless abandon. That is not wisdom, it is folly. The cage is not the job itself, but the mindset you hold within it. A job, any job, can be transformed from a prison into a university, from a dead end into a launching pad, the moment you make a single powerful decision. That decision is to adopt a definite chief aim. What is the one great, all-consuming purpose of your life? What is the magnificent vision that sets your soul on fire? You must stop seeing yourself as a mere employee, a cog in a great machine, and start seeing yourself as an entrepreneur in the business of your own life, whose current job is merely a temporary investor, a strategic partner funding your research and development. From the moment you define your great purpose, the entire dynamic shifts. Your daily tasks are no longer drudgery. They are training. Your difficult boss is no longer a tyrant. They are a case study in human nature. Your salary is no longer just a wage. It is seed capital for the empire you are building in the silent workshop of your mind. A person with a definite chief aim walks through the world differently. They carry themselves with an aura of purpose that others can feel. They are no longer a ship adrift, tossed by the waves of company policy and the winds of their supervisor's mood. They are a battleship with a clear destination, a powerful engine, and a rudder held steady by the firm hand of their own will. They may be navigating through the same corporate waters as everyone else, but they are on a different journey entirely. So, how does one cultivate this purpose-driven mindset, especially when surrounded by the monotonous, soul-dampening atmosphere of a rigid workplace? It begins with a revolution that takes place not in the office, but in the sacred, quiet chambers of your own mind, in the moments just before you sleep and just after you wake. You must take your definite chief aim, your great purpose, and you must write it down in a clear, concise statement. Be specific. If it is a fortune you desire, write down the exact amount. If it is a business you wish to build, describe its nature and the service it will render. Then, and this is crucial, write down what you intend to give in return for this achievement, for the universe does not indulge in the business of something for nothing. Once you have this statement, you must read it aloud twice daily. As you read it, you must engage the most powerful faculty of your being, your imagination. You must see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of your goal. You must close your eyes and feel the thrill of victory. You must see in your mind's eye the physical manifestation of your completed dream. This process, which I call autosuggestion, is the method by which you deliberately plant the seeds of success in the fertile garden of your subconscious mind. It is the direct and potent antidote to the endless negative suggestions of your work environment. While your job may be whispering, "You are a small part of a big machine," your autosuggestion will be roaring, "You are the creator and master of a magnificent destiny." Over time, through persistent repetition, the roar will drown out the whisper. This daily practice of autosuggestion builds the one quality that is absolutely essential for breaking free from any form of limitation: unwavering faith. Faith, as I define it, is not a passive hope. It is a state of mind, an absolute conviction that can be cultivated and developed through conscious effort. The rigid job is a factory of doubt. It makes you doubt your own abilities, doubt your own ideas, and doubt your own potential for a greater life. It teaches you to place your faith in the system, in the structure, in anything but yourself. You must systematically counteract this programming. Every time you read your statement with emotion and belief, you are casting a vote for your own power. You are strengthening the muscle of your faith. When you first begin, this may feel artificial, even foolish. Your conscious, reasoning mind, conditioned by practicality, may resist. But your subconscious mind does not reason. It accepts. And when you feed it a consistent diet of faith-backed thoughts, it will begin to work tirelessly, often in ways you cannot comprehend, to attract the people, the opportunities, and the circumstances necessary to transform your purpose into its physical equivalent. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When it is blended with thought, it creates a powerful vibration that infinite intelligence picks up and responds to. This is the very essence of prayer. It is not about begging an outside force for favors. It is about aligning your own inner force with the creative powers of the universe. A person armed with this kind of faith can transform their reality, whether they are sitting in the chairman's office or on the factory floor. However, a definite purpose and unshakable faith, while essential, are not enough. They are the engine and the fuel, but you still need a roadmap and a vehicle. This is where you must actively combat the mental laziness that a rigid job so often breeds. You must dedicate time outside of your work hours to the acquisition of specialized knowledge. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity, is of little use in the accumulation of true wealth. The world pays for specialized knowledge, organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action. You must ask yourself, what specific knowledge do I need to achieve my definite chief aim? Perhaps it is knowledge of marketing, of engineering, of finance, of human psychology. Your current job may provide a portion of this, but it will almost never provide all of it. The man who stops learning the day he leaves school is doomed to a life of mediocrity, no matter how hard he works at his assigned tasks. You must become a lifelong student of your purpose. Read books. Take courses. Seek out mentors. Your evenings and weekends are not merely time for rest and diversion. They are the precious hours where you build the intellectual capital for your future empire. And do not be discouraged if you feel you lack the capacity to learn it all yourself. This brings us to one of an achiever's greatest secrets. You must harness the power of the mastermind. No single individual possesses enough experience, education, and ability to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. A mastermind alliance consists of the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of perfect harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Your workplace is likely filled with colleagues whose minds are tuned to the frequency of complaint, of gossip, of limitation. To associate with them after hours, to allow their negative, fearful vibrations to permeate your consciousness, is to deliberately poison your own ambitions. You must, with great care and deliberation, seek out and form an alliance with other individuals who are positive, purpose-driven, and possess the specialized knowledge that you lack. Meet with this group regularly. Share your plans. Brainstorm solutions to your challenges. The power generated by the harmonious blending of several minds is a force that is far greater than the sum of its parts. It creates a third, invisible, intangible force, the master mind, that can tap into sources of inspiration and knowledge that are unavailable to the individual. This alliance becomes your personal board of directors, your shield against discouragement, your think tank for brilliant new plans. The negative social conditioning of your job is powerful, but a positive, supportive mastermind is infinitely more so. You cannot afford to walk the path to riches alone. Now, let us speak of the work itself. How can you begin to break the mental shackles of a rigid job while you are still within it? The answer lies in another profound principle: the habit of going the extra mile. This means rendering more and better service than that for which you are paid. The average employee, conditioned by the what's in it for me mindset, does just enough work to not get fired. This is a formula for permanent stagnation. The person destined for greatness, however, understands that their current job is their primary training ground. They see every task, no matter how mundane, as an opportunity to cultivate the habit of excellence. They pour their heart and soul into their work, not to please their boss, but to please the highest standards of their own character. This practice does two remarkable things. First, it makes you so valuable, so indispensable, that opportunities for advancement will naturally gravitate toward you, often within your current organization. You will be noticed. You will be promoted. You will be given more responsibility, which in turn gives you more experience and knowledge. But far more importantly, the habit of going the extra mile builds a success consciousness within you. You are training your mind and body to operate at a level of high performance. You are building the very work ethic and character that will be the unshakable foundation of your own enterprise when the time is right. The law of increasing returns is real. The service you render with a positive mental attitude will come back to you, multiplied. Do not see it as giving your employer free labor. See it as investing in your own character, an investment that will pay dividends for the rest of your life. This journey from the mindset of an employee to the mindset of a creator requires one final, indispensable ingredient: persistence. There will be days, my friend, when you will be tired. There will be days when your grand purpose feels like a distant, impossible dream. There will be days when the negative, cynical voices of your colleagues or even your own family will seep into your consciousness, whispering the sweet poison of doubt. This is the great testing ground. This is where the vast majority of people surrender. They give up, not because their dream was impossible, but because their desire was not strong enough to fuel their persistence. Persistence is nothing more than willpower in action. It is the quality that stands as the sole difference between failure and success. The starting point of all achievement is desire, and the intensity of your persistence will be in exact proportion to the intensity of your desire. This is why a vague wish for more money or a better life is utterly useless. It has no power to sustain you through the dark nights of discouragement. But a definite chief aim, a burning obsession, a purpose so magnificent that the thought of abandoning it is more painful than any temporary setback, that is the fuel for unstoppable persistence. The world is full of educated derelicts, men and women who were brilliant and capable, but who lacked the persistence to see their plans through. The world is also full of uneducated successes, individuals who may have lacked formal schooling, but who possessed a goal and a bulldog tenacity that simply refused to let go. When you encounter a temporary defeat, and you will, your persistence, backed by your faith, must force you to ask not, should I quit? But rather, what is this trying to teach me? How can I create a better plan? The ultimate goal, you see, is not simply to leave your job. It is to achieve a state of mental and spiritual sovereignty where you are the absolute master of your own destiny. True wealth is not measured by the figures in a bank account, but by the freedom to direct your own thoughts, to live by your own purpose, and to render service to the world in a way that brings you profound joy and satisfaction. The money is a byproduct. It is a natural consequence that flows to the person who provides immense value, and immense value can only be created by a mind that is free, imaginative, purposeful, and persistent. The rigid job will never make you rich because it is fundamentally designed to limit your value. It puts a ceiling on what you can earn because it puts a ceiling on the service you are allowed to render and the initiative you are allowed to take. To become truly wealthy, you must break through that ceiling. You must create a system where your rewards are in direct proportion to the value you create. And the only way to do that is to eventually become the master of your own enterprise, whether that enterprise is a great corporation or simply the magnificent business of your own life. You are not working for a living. You are creating a life. There is a profound difference. So I ask you now, look at your current situation with new eyes. Is your job a career or is it a cage? Is it a platform for growth or a comfortable waiting room for a life that will never begin? The answer lies not in your job description, but in your own mind. You can begin your liberation this very day, this very moment. Define your purpose. Fortify your mind with faith through autosuggestion. Seek out a mastermind alliance. Dedicate yourself to acquiring the specialized knowledge you need. Adopt the habit of going the extra mile in everything you do. And back it all with a persistence that does not recognize the meaning of the word failure. You do not need to wait for a perfect opportunity. You must create it. The power to transform your entire existence is not in the hands of your employer or the economy or your circumstances. It has been within you all along, sleeping, waiting for you to make a decision, to issue a command. Thoughts are things, my friend, and a thought, when backed by definite purpose, persistence, and a burning desire, can be translated into riches. The walls of your current reality are not made of stone. They are made of your own thoughts. And you alone, hold the key to tear them down and build in their place the glorious castle of your dreams. What magnificent structure will you choose to build? The work begins now.